and you're on, please.
Okay, we've compromised with the use of Kachuka my own management of time, so I hope to make it in time. First of all, a few clarifications. Some people have some trouble remembering my name. Diego, like in San Diego in California. The only difference, I'm not a saint, okay? So that is our first clarification. Second, I can only speak about what I know, and I know about corporate learning in Europe, Africa, Latin America, and Middle East, which is the area that I cover from Accenture in the spaces of talent management and learning in particular. So this Pechacucha stuff is terrible, but I'll try to adapt to my 6 minutes and 20 seconds. All right, so topic is where's learning headed? I have a few thoughts just to share with you. First of all, I don't see the titles. Yeah, work and learn integration. So learning will be something different from an event. Will be continuous, will be on demand, will be just in time, will be integrated in the tools that people use to work every day. This means that learning will be contextual, will be embedded in what we do every day, and if we don't do that, people will not learn, because people only learn when they need to learn, and they have the urgency to learn, and they see a benefit from learning, not when we decide that they should learn anything. Okay? So that is individual driving, individual leadership, taking into account that we need to balance a few things. It is true that this applies better or applies more to technical learning than to behavioral learning. Behavioral learning is a little bit trickier or more difficult. And what I've seen over the years is that we've been changing the waves of learning from more behavior-oriented to more technical-oriented, and we need to reach a balance here. Over the past 10 years, we see more and more focus on technical education after another 10 years of heavy-duty behavioral learning. That applies to almost every country. We need to reach a better balance. All right, then this means more demand versus supply mindset. That means that we will put learning in front of people and they will decide what to learn. So they need to have the criteria, they need to have the mindset, they need to have the urgency and the need to learn. Then, this means self-management, not driving them, not telling them what to do. Self-management, self-awareness, self-assessment, self-driving, planning, pacing what they do, when they learn, how they learn, what means they use, self-tracking. Then, this means also making it possible for them with the necessary resources to find the right tool set to learn. That is, bringing more channels, bringing the same learning experience from very different means so that people choose what to do and what to do. For example, I like to listen to books in my car. Not many people like that, but I do that. And we need to adapt to different learning styles. So applying the same content to different channels in different modes so people choose how to learn. Then I see an increasing and rapidly trend to unit duration going down. That is, going from weeks to days of learning, to hours, to minutes, and now seconds. So learning events can happen in seconds. And that is very important because that gives us a sense of continuity, of continuous learning, which is something very important for people to succeed in the future. Then, most of the learning we get, people say between 80 and 90%, even more, comes from what we do with other people every day. And we need to measure that better. Right now, learning measurement is very poor, and we need to improve that. And one of the key areas to improve is how do we measure the learning we get out of the collaboration projects or the interactions we have with others. There's a lot of learning that comes from that, and we need to make an effort to improve the way we measure learning output from those interventions. There will be more transparency in terms of value of our skills versus the cost we have for our organizations. That means that we will be told at some point, you cost this to the organization, and you bring this value, not only in terms of sales, revenue, or whatever, but more in terms of the content you have. So the importance of the content. And we can very rapidly become obsolete in terms of content, and we don't want to do that. So we will have the pressure to improve the ratio between the value of our skills and the cost of our skills for our organizations. But in order to do that, we need transparency. We need clear rules, clear measures to bring people to that mindset. Then we also need to show people a better balance between rights and obligations. We are going towards a world where there are many obligations, but people need to do them by themselves. So this is a change in mindset also. Right now we are accustomed, in Europe especially, to a lot of rights and very few obligations. Then we see an increasing area of concern, which is cost reduction, linked to the difficulty in measuring, and more segmentation, which is that we invest maybe the same amount of money, maybe a little less, but on just a part of the population, not everyone. Then we need to master as organizations multiple content sources. So that is, we need to leverage what's out there and not just expect to create everything time and time again. Then we need a common design method, and people will eventually come to that for the learning area of an organization in terms of developing content and in terms of who is the owner of the content. And the shift in investment will go towards learning design, learning experience, and content integration, and less to the materials development. Finally, we will reuse every learning object on the job, consequentially. So we will reuse everything we do for learning to include it contextually in what we do in our work. Finally, the whole purpose of learning will be to increase our assimilation capacity. That is, the volume of water inside our own bucket, inside our own glass. That is, our ability to do things. So dexterity and our ability to grow in the future will be directly linked to our ability to increase our assimilation capacity. So the more we learn and the more continually we learn, the more we will be able to learn in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Diego. So